A man named Chavez claimed he'd been hearing faint scraping sounds coming from his living room and was convinced his toy cars had been moving on their own while he wasn't looking. Half asleep and clearly nervous, he grabbed his phone and started recording to see if he could finally prove it.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley or an exorcist. I don't fucking know. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There's no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on her. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Hasn't thrown it.
In the footage, the room is completely still at first, the toy car sitting alone on the floor with nothing near it. Then, without Chavez touching it or even getting close, the car suddenly jerks forward in short, uneven bursts, stopping and starting as if something invisible is nudging it along. Chavez can be heard breathing heavier as he watches it move, clearly not expecting it to actually happen on camera. He doesn't interfere or try to test it, instead keeping his distance while filming. After a few seconds, the car comes to a stop right in the middle of the room and doesn't move again. Chavez leaves it exactly where it is and backs away, ending the clip shaken. According to him, this whole situation scares him enough to make him sleep outside. For the next few days, Chavez refused to touch the toy at all and told his wife Elizabeth not to move it either, hoping whatever happened was a one-time thing. But 2 nights later, he woke up with that same uneasy feeling and immediately started filming again.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey.
Goodbye.
Okay, no, for real, like, so what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you friendly?
We're moving.
I don't think it's, like, irritated. I fell asleep out here, and I promise you she didn't place it there. Last night, I blessed this cup before I went to bed. So, we're gonna do this together. I'm gonna have Elizabeth hold the phone. Okay, so, in Jesus' name, power of Christ compels you, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't think it's evil, man. You know, because it'd be like, oh, weed. Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions, let me know.
He quietly wakes Elizabeth and their daughter, bringing them into the room so they can all see it together. The toy car is still sitting exactly where it stopped days earlier, untouched. As they're watching, it suddenly rolls forward again on its own, slowly this time, right in front of all 3 of them. Elizabeth gasps, and before anyone can even react, a completely different toy nearby starts moving too, sliding across the floor in the same unnatural way. That's when Chavez completely loses his composure. He begins speaking out loud, using religious words and prayers, demanding whatever is there to leave their home. The toys don't respond, they just stop moving, as if they're listening. The clip ends shortly after, with Chavez saying they're moving out as soon as possible. He later claimed the activity didn't stop, but this was the last time he was willing to film it, unsure if what he said actually worked or just made things worse. Sleeping can be hard sometimes, especially when you suffer like the man in our following video, who claims his nights have been getting worse for reasons he can't explain. He starts recording from his bed after noticing strange orbs drifting across his camera in the darkness, slowly floating in and out of frame like something is lingering in the room with him.
Son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, Reza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, Raza. Ay.
As he lies there watching, the door to his bedroom suddenly begins to rattle violently, the handle shaking as if someone on the other side is trying to get in. He hesitates for a moment before finally getting out of bed and opening it, expecting to find someone standing there, but the room is completely empty. Before he can even process that, a small table inside the room suddenly tips over on its own, crashing to the floor without being touched. Panicked, he backs away and retreats to his bed, breathing hard and keeping the camera on a mirror. That's when it gets worse. The door starts knocking repeatedly, fast and deliberate, like someone is pounding to be let in. Each knock echoes through the room while he stays frozen in place, too scared to move. Whatever was making those sounds clearly didn't want him sleeping peacefully that night, and it wasn't done yet. An hour later, after sitting in silence trying to convince himself it was over, he decides to start filming again, this time forcing himself to be brave. He turns the camera back on inside his bedroom, whispering that he wants proof and that he isn't running anymore.
Es la 1 de la mañana, acaban de prender la luz de la sala. Desde que compré ese espejo están pasando todas las cosas raras. A la madre. ¿Qué fue eso? Eso se está saliendo de control ya.
Almost immediately, something horrifying happens. In the doorway ahead of him, a black, head-shaped figure slowly peeks around the corner, just enough for its outline to be clearly visible. The moment he reacts, it snaps back out of sight, hiding again, as if it knows it's been seen. Shaken but determined, he leaves the room and begins checking the rest of the apartment, moving through the hallway, the living room, and the kitchen, showing every corner as proof that no one else is there. Every light is off, every door is empty, and there's nowhere a person could be hiding. When he returns to the bedroom, the doorway is clear again, but the feeling hasn't gone away. Whatever peeked at him wasn't physical, wasn't accidental, and wasn't trying very hard to stay hidden. After everything that happened earlier, this moment convinced him that something was sharing the apartment with him and watching him when he thought he was alone. A woman staying alone in a Lake District hotel room decided to start filming after a series of strange noises echoed through the building late at night. She had been getting ready to go out when the sounds began, dull bangs mixed with faint whispering that seemed to travel through the walls. At first she brushed it off as other guests, but the corridors outside were silent. Uneasy, she turned her camera toward the bedroom and started calling out, asking if anyone was there.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Hello?
The room is almost completely dark as she films, her voice shaky, while the whispers seem to fade in and out. Trying to prove to herself it was nothing, she steps out into the hotel corridor, panning the camera left and right to show it is completely empty. No footsteps, no voices, no doors open. But just as she stands there, frozen, a sharp knock comes from inside her room behind her. Then another. Whatever had been whispering earlier was clearly still inside. The clip ends without her going back in, and she later explains she left the hotel shortly after, choosing to spend the rest of the night elsewhere, rather than stay alone with whatever was knocking from inside her room. The Bearded Explorer, a well-known urban explorer with over 250,000 subscribers, was filming a walkthrough of an abandoned facility he'd explored before without any issues. Confident and calm, he was narrating as he moved down a long corridor, after explaining the history of the place, when something suddenly changed.
Starting to be some really weird stuff in here.
A sharp noise echoes from extremely close to him, close enough that he immediately panics and backs up, breathing faster as he fumbles to grab his camera properly. The moment he lifts it and turns back down the corridor, the reason becomes clear. At the far end, barely lit and almost blending into the darkness, a strange human-shaped figure is standing completely still. It doesn't move toward him, but it doesn't disappear either. The second he notices it, all composure is gone. He turns and runs, faster than at any point in his channel's history, his breathing frantic. After escaping the building, he later admitted he couldn't explain what he saw and refused to return to that location. For someone as experienced as him to react like that, it left viewers convinced whatever was in that corridor wasn't just another shadow. Christopher and a few friends were exploring their abandoned elementary school late in the evening, filming as they moved from room to room, joking nervously about how eerie the place felt after dark. The building had been shut down for years, and they were confident nobody else was inside with them.
والله طفت الماء شيء والله بتشعل فل طف الحمد لله على الباب خليني اسمع الماء كان بطلع لا يبا تعال امشي كان بطلع تليفوني طفى ولا كعب على اللي ما يدي التليفون انتو شو مخليني اخر واحد الرجال ماسك هذا لا تعال حمام صبيان حمام صبيان
As Christopher slowly pans the camera across one of the classrooms, everything seems normal at first, just peeling posters and dusty floors. But for a split second mid-pan, something appears in the frame that none of them notice at the time. A small, childlike figure is standing near the middle of the room, partially obscured, and watching them. It's only there for a moment before the camera moves past it, making it easy to miss unless you slow the footage down. When viewers later pointed it out, the group were horrified. There was no way a child could have been in the building, and the figure didn't match any of their silhouettes or movements. The proportions were wrong, the posture was unnatural, and no one remembered seeing anything in that spot. What makes it even more unsettling is where it appeared, inside a school meant for children, long abandoned and silent. Whatever that figure was, it clearly wasn't supposed to be there, and it seemed to be watching them just as closely as they were exploring the building. This next clip brings us back to Ian, a Midwest ghost hunter some of you might already recognize. But for anyone new here, he's been documenting his investigation inside the same abandoned factory, where activity has been escalating with every visit. This moment happens much later into the night.
Okay, I am not liking this. Who's there? It's like a kitchen. Severed foot. Severed hand. Thank God these are just props. Otherwise I'd have to call the police. Jesus. Feels like I'm in Ed Gein's house right now. Anyone in here? Sounded like something in there. If there's anyone in there, could you peek out from this doorway? Man, I get a creepy feeling looking in there. What the f was that? Something just went flying. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
Without warning, the severed hand prop flies off the table as if it were grabbed by an unseen force.
Who just threw that? They threw something off the table.
Ian pauses in one of the darker sections of the factory and asks out loud if whatever is there was summoned to this place, rather than being trapped in it. Almost immediately, faint but distinct banging sounds echo from somewhere deeper in the building, spaced out and distant, like a response rather than random noise. He follows the sound carefully, moving through narrow corridors until he ends up in what looks like an old kitchen area that shouldn't feel as unsettling as it does. On one of the tables are severed foot and hand props, which Ian initially assumes were left behind from filming or some kind of staged setup. But as he scans the room, another unexplained noise comes from a nearby space, and his tone shifts completely. He steps closer, visibly uneasy, focusing on the table again when, without warning, one of the severed hand props suddenly flies off the surface and hits the floor. There's no one near it, nothing touching the table, and no logical force behind the movement. Ian backs up instantly, clearly shaken, realizing that whatever responded to him earlier wasn't finished interacting. The factory had already been active, but this moment made it clear that something there was reacting directly to him. In the following video, a man behind his camera in a school captures something incredibly strange while walking through what appears to be an old sports facility. He starts recording as a heavy door in front of him is slowly shutting on its own, creaking eerily as it moves. Take a look.
Esa puerta también ¿Vieron? Dicen que mis videos son actuados, pero están viendo, no hay nada. ¿Vieron cómo se cerró la puerta? No soy el único que mira o escucha cosas. Pero bueno. Escucha. Eso fue acá. Uy, güey.
He carefully approaches the closing door, moving to an angle that allows him to start looking behind to see if maybe someone was there pulling it closed. But the space is completely empty. Nobody's around, no strings, no air vents strong enough to cause that movement. Curious, he decides to step through the door into the sports hall, beyond it. The moment he crosses the threshold, the door suddenly stops moving, freezing mid-shut, as if whatever was closing it just stopped. He pans the camera around the wide, empty hall, showing rows of benches and a faint echo from his own footsteps. But there's no sign of anyone else. The entire thing feels unsettlingly timed, almost like the door only moved until he entered the hall, then deliberately went still. A few days later, the same man decided to return to the school, determined to see if he could capture anything else unusual on camera. This time, he was crouched at the end of one of the long corridors, filming as he went to document the atmosphere of the place.
Uy, hijo de su puta madre. Y no hay nadie. Está cerrado. Vámonos de aquí.
Everything seems normal at first, as the lights hum faintly and the echo of his footsteps fill the hallway. But just as he starts to think nothing is going to happen this time, something strange happens at the far end. A large wheelie bin, which had been completely still, suddenly shifts a few inches on its own, rolling slightly across the floor before stopping again. There's no one near it, no airflow, and no reason for it to move at all. The man behind the camera is utterly shaken by what he just witnessed. The bin's subtle but deliberate movement adds another layer of mystery to the already unsettling activity he'd been documenting in this abandoned school, and who knows if he will ever return. In this next piece of footage, we're looking at security camera footage taken from inside a family home. The system detects movement in the dining room, and the homeowner's wife can be seen walking in before taking a seat at the table. What happens next is extremely hard to explain, so I'll let you watch it for yourself. The camera captures a series of loud bangs echoing throughout the room, though nothing seems to be falling or breaking. The noises suddenly stop, and the woman pulls out a chair, sitting down slowly at the table. What's unnerving is the way she sits. She sat with her arms laid flat across the surface, head bowed down, completely still. After a few seconds, the other chairs around her begin to shift on their own, sliding back as if invisible guests were taking their seats. Then one of the ornaments on the table slides across the surface, stopping right in front of her. A few moments later, a nearby door slams shut with a loud thud. The woman finally lifts her head slightly, breaking her stillness, and the clip cuts off abruptly, leaving viewers to wonder if she was ever really alone in that room. CCTV footage recorded at around 11 p.m. using a Wise camera set up in a living room captured something jaw-dropping. At first, nothing seems unusual as the footage is quiet, dimly lit, and the only movement comes from a few small orbs drifting near the camera lens. But 22 seconds in, things take a strange turn. On the left-hand side of the frame, just inside a doorway, something appears to peek out. It's quick but clear, the shape is small, almost childlike, and seems to lean forward before darting back out of sight. The house is supposed to be empty, yet there's definitely movement. A few seconds later, a lamp beside the door suddenly flickers to life on its own, illuminating the space where the figure appeared. The camera keeps rolling in silence after that, but nothing else moves. Many who've seen this footage believe it's some kind of spirit, especially considering no one else was home when it happened. Let me know what you think in the comments section though. The clip that I am going to expose you to shortly was recorded in pitch darkness with poor camera quality, relying entirely on night vision to capture what's happening. The footage begins with the man slowly walking toward a staircase, breathing heavily as he steadies the camera. What happens when he takes his first step up them is insane.
Okay, everybody, hold still for a second. Hello? Can you talk to us?
As soon as he steps onto the first stair, something faint but unmistakable moves in the background. A transparent figure gliding across behind a doorway at the top of the stairs. It's quick, almost ghost-like, fading out just as it comes into view. The man freezes and calls out hello into the silence, his voice echoing faintly through the hall. There's no response, no movement, nothing except for a few orbs drifting across the frame, floating gently past the camera lens before disappearing again. The eerie calm that follows makes the moment even more chilling, leaving it unclear whether he was truly alone in that house or not, disregarding his friend, of course. Val had been hearing strange noises coming from the basement for a few nights in a row and assumed it was just rats, wanting to show her husband, who was at work, what was going on. She decided to grab her phone and film as she went downstairs to investigate. Little did she know that it wasn't really rats at all. The footage shows her carefully walking down the creaky basement steps, trembling slightly as she reaches the bottom. Everything seems quiet at first, until she stops ahead of an old wooden door. Faint scratching sounds can be heard coming from behind it, rhythmic and persistent, as if something is trying to get out. Val stays exactly where she is, when suddenly the door handle lets out a little movement. She gasps and stumbles back, the scratching growing louder for just a few seconds before abruptly stopping. The clip ends with her breathing heavily, unsure whether she'd just encountered rodents or something far worse. This piece of CCTV footage was recorded inside an employee's office long after work hours, and what it captures has left everyone who's seen it completely unsettled. The office had recently been renovated after a fire 2 years prior that destroyed part of the building, but ever since reopening, workers kept reporting odd experiences, such as objects falling from desks, faint whispers when nobody else was around, and even computers turning on by themselves. This clip shows one of those incidents caught on camera. In this particular recording, the room is empty and silent when a faint, transparent white wisp begins to move across the floor. It glides effortlessly across the room, twisting slightly, before rising and fading away into thin air. There's no glare from lights, no insects, and no reflections from outside, just a clear, ghostly shape that shouldn't have been there. After the footage surfaced, the office manager checked the building's security system and confirmed that no one had entered or left the building that night. Strangely, the motion sensors had only been triggered in that one room. Since then, a few employees have refused to work there alone, and it's now referred to by staff as the haunted office, the place where something from before the fire still lingers. An Amazon delivery driver named Leah was recording something strange she experienced while collecting packages from a local storage facility. She'd been doing this route for months with nothing out of the ordinary ever happening, but on this particular day, something inside the building didn't feel right from the moment she walked in, and this intuition proved itself correct.
These people think I'm crazy. Y'all, look at this shit. Just look. You see that shit? Y'all seen that shit? Yo, watch this. Got it on camera. Thank God. What?
As she steps inside, the camera shows rows of storage lockers, most of them shut, except for some near the middle that are mysteriously hanging open. As she shouts to the camera, she closes them, along with a few others that had been left slightly ajar. Everything seems fine as she steps back, but then, as she films from a short distance away, one of the lockers she had just closed creaks and slowly opens itself again. The metal door drags open all the way before stopping on its own, as if something invisible had pushed it from the inside. She didn't stick around to find out what it was. In the following piece of footage, Melody explains that her birthday was just a few days ago, and someone had sent her a bouquet of pink flowers. They were beautiful, but they came with no note, no sender information, and nobody in her life ever mentioned sending them. She figured it was a mix-up, or maybe a secret admirer, but she didn't think much more about it. Then, on the day of the recording, she came home from work and found another delivery waiting at her door.
Okay, this might be nothing, but the timing is just not it. It was my birthday, right? And I got these flowers. Boom. They're dying. I know. That's not weird because it's me, okay? They die. No note. So, and I figured, you know, when it's my birthday, someone's gonna call or text me and be like, "Happy birthday, did you like my flowers?" That didn't happen. It didn't happen. So, hold on, my dogs are freaking out. Hold on. Back to the story. So today when I get home, okay, yeah, I leave a note.
This time it was a fresh set of bright yellow flowers, arriving at the exact moment her original pink bouquet was starting to wilt. Still no note, no message, no clue. After the footage, she checked with family, friends, even co-workers, and not a single person claimed they were from them. The timing feels deliberate, almost like someone is watching closely enough to know when the first set was beginning to die. Now she's not sure if she should be flattered, creeped out, or both, because whoever is sending them clearly isn't finished. In the follow-up clip, she explains that after posting the video about the mysterious flowers, her followers started messaging her non-stop, all saying the same thing. They claimed something appeared behind her while she was talking, something she hadn't noticed at all in the moment. Curious and a little shaken, she went back into the footage and adjusted the brightness and contrast to see what they were talking about, and this is what she uncovered.
Warning, if you scare easy, this shit made my stomach drop. So once again, I could have gone my whole life without y'all telling me there's something behind me. In every single one of my videos is the one where I get flowers, no note. I thought that's what the TikTok was about, but apparently there is someone or something standing behind me in the doorway. I decided I'm going to screen record myself screenshotting the doorway, playing around with the settings. This is what I found.
In the doorway behind her, barely visible at first, an almost fully transparent human figure is standing there, shaped just enough to recognize but faded enough to look unreal. The longer she stares at the edited frame, the clearer it looks, like someone was silently watching her from just a few feet away. She's convinced now that this wasn't some random glitch or shadow trick. After all, someone has been sending her flowers with oddly perfect timing, and the presence behind her didn't look like anything living. Her followers think it might be connected, maybe even the same unseen visitor, leaving gifts on her doorstep. She isn't sure what to believe anymore, but she's certain she's not alone in that house. Matt decided to set up a camera in the kitchen before leaving for work, hoping to finally catch whatever had been making noises in the middle of the day when nobody was home. He mentioned earlier that strange things kept happening while he was gone, so he left the camera running for hours just to see what would show up. Little did he know that he was actually going to capture something. The footage opens with a wide shot of the quiet kitchen, nothing moving, no pets, no open windows, nothing that could cause any disturbance. Then, without warning, one of the chairs at the dining table suddenly tips over, crashing to the floor with enough force to echo across the room. A few seconds later, before the silence even settles, another chair at the kitchen counter falls over on its own, this one leaning almost purposefully, before dropping flat like something had pushed it. Matt watched all this back later and was stunned. There were no drafts, no people, no reason for two different chairs across the room to fall the way they did. Whatever's been in his house wasn't hiding anymore, and the camera finally proved it. A few days later, Matt was actually holding the camera himself this time, instead of relying on the kitchen setup, and he was in the bathroom attached to his bedroom when he started hearing strange noises coming from the closet. He thought maybe his girlfriend was messing with something in there, so he stepped out of the bathroom and began filming while calling for her, but she didn't answer, and the bedroom was completely empty.
I'm in my bathroom that's attached to my bedroom, and I keep hearing fucking noises coming from the closet that's just on the other side of the wall. But Sarah's gone. Babe. Babe. Hello? Babe? Max? What the fuck? Oh, what the? Dude.
As he points the camera toward the open doorway of the closet, in the darkness something faint and hard to identify can be seen shifting near the back wall. It barely has a shape, almost blending into the shadows, but it's enough to send him into a panic. Matt immediately sprints out of the room and runs to the other side of the house, completely shaken. Whatever was in that closet wasn't human, and it definitely wasn't waiting around to be seen any clearer. A woman was sitting in a leather chair, looking exhausted after a long day, while her partner filmed her from across the room just to capture her quote-unquote being attractive. She wasn't expecting anything unusual to happen, but the camera accidentally picked up something behind her that they instantly clocked onto.
You look tired.
Yeah, kinda.
Tonight was a long night.
It was. Why are you filming me?
You just look really good right now.
I do think we're a pretty attractive couple. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god.
What? What happened? Did you see something?
In the window behind her, a dark figure can be seen walking past, moving smoothly from one side to the other, as if someone was outside looking in. The man recording instantly reacts, rushing out the door to check the yard, expecting to catch whoever walked by. But the second he gets outside, there's nothing. No footsteps, no shadows, nobody even close to the house. The yard is completely empty. The figure in the window had to have been a ghost, and seeing it after the fact only made the situation even more unsettling. In another clip that was posted a few days later, the same woman from the window video decided to vlog about how uneasy she'd been feeling since that night. She explained she'd been getting random goosebumps around the house and just wanted to document it in case anything else happened. For the first few seconds, she's walking around and talking normally until something suddenly catches her off guard.
Hey, so I know some of you don't believe me, but I've been starting to get goosebumps and the hair on the back of my neck is starting to... What the hell?! We are moving.
What happened?
We see her gasp before she spins the camera around toward the bathroom, and there it is, a huge human-shaped shadow standing directly behind the shower curtain, tall and completely still. She hesitates only a second before pulling the curtain back with one quick motion, but there's nothing behind it at all. No person, no shadow, nothing that could have created that shape. Her voice is shaking as she backs away and calls out to her boyfriend that they're moving out, because at this point, she's had enough. In the final part of their footage, the man starts filming again after Savannah tells him she's been hearing voices coming from the balcony area. She sounded stressed at the time, so he decided to go check it out with the camera rolling. As he begins walking toward the balcony door, something unexpected happens.
Okay, so Savannah's saying that she's hearing voices out on the balcony, so I told her I would check it out. What the hell is that? I definitely just saw somebody out there.
Did you see something?
Before he even reaches the balcony, a tall shadow figure is already standing at the window, its shape pressed against the glass as if it's staring inside. He freezes for a second, trying to focus the camera, but just then something behind him falls with a loud clatter that makes him spin around in shock. When he turns back toward the balcony, only a moment later, the shadow figure is completely gone. No movement, no fading, nothing. Whatever Savannah had been hearing wasn't just a voice this time, it was watching them. A man called Professor Cynical never believed in ghosts, ever. He was the type of person who laughed at the idea, always blaming strange sounds on pipes, neighbors, or the wind. But ever since he moved into his new house, things have shifted from mildly strange to genuinely unsettling. At first, it was just the occasional noise that he brushed off without thinking. But as weeks went by, the activity became harder and harder for him to explain away. Eventually, he decided to start recording, and that's when he captured something he can't rationalize at all.
Conclusion. I'm honestly done with this. Every other day pretty much, this happens. I posted about this before, but people just saying, oh, the door's moving because of the wind, and it wasn't anything. And over the course of so long, it's just getting worse. I'll show you as well, there's literally nothing here. Got baby gate there. There's literally just shoe racks and that right there. Look, there's literally nothing. And if I look up here, mind the camera. But look, there's literally nothing.
He's sitting right beside his door, filming as the handle begins shaking violently on its own, rattling back and forth like someone on the other side is trying to get in. He says this happens every other day, almost like clockwork, and even though people keep telling him it's just the wind, it's painfully obvious that's not the case. As the footage continues, the shaking only gets more aggressive until he finally reaches out, grabs the handle, and pulls the door open. The camera shows the empty space behind it, nothing and no one there at all. Whatever's been rattling that door isn't the wind, and isn't something he can debunk anymore. Henrique had started recording that night after his young daughter mentioned hearing weird tapping sounds coming from near her cabinet while trying to fall asleep. Wanting to prove it was nothing, Henrique turned on his phone camera and began filming the quiet room, pointing the camera toward the cabinet where his son usually slept beside.
O que vocês fariam se vocês... Mano, acabei, juro por Deus, eu vi negócio preto aqui do lado da... Ó, até acordou, cara.
For the first few seconds, nothing seems strange, just a normal night. Then, suddenly, a shadow passes across the window beside the bed, moving too fast and too high to be anything outside. A split second later, a loud bang echoes through the room, startling him. He rushes to the window to check, but when he looks out, there's nothing. The yard below is empty, and since the window is on the second floor, no person or animal could have walked by. Henrique stays silent for a moment, the camera still recording, trying to make sense of what he just saw. The shadow shouldn't have been possible, and yet it was right there, just inches away from where his son had been sleeping hours before. In the following video, Zane and a group of friends had been out riding a large loader-style vehicle late at night, the kind used mostly in construction or transport. They'd started filming simply because the moon looked incredible that night, big and bright above the houses on the road. Everything seemed fine until, without warning, the vehicle suddenly lost power and came to a stop.
How big the moon is, it's really big. Anyway, it's pretty cool. What the hell? No. No, 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 no. Wait, there's nothing there.
You can hear them joking at first, trying to figure out what happened, but confusion quickly replaces laughter when they realize there's no mechanical reason why it shut off. While filming the breakdown, Zane pans the camera slightly, catching the reflection in one of the side mirrors. Behind the vehicle, clear as day, stands a man. He's motionless, perfectly still, and yet when the group turns around to look in real life, there's nobody there. The spot behind them is completely empty. They replay the clip several times, trying to understand what they saw, but every time, the figure is visible only in the mirror. It wasn't one of them, and it wasn't a trick of the light, just a man standing in silence behind their vehicle, gone the second they looked. For 8 long years, a woman had lived in this same house, and even after all that time, the strange things that happen inside still manage to shake her. This video is just another reminder of why she's never truly gotten used to it. She starts filming while sitting down, focused on the doorway ahead, as something that hinted something was about to happen had come. Faint knocking sounds can be heard, light but repetitive, echoing from somewhere down the hall. It's rhythmic, almost patient, like someone quietly trying to get her attention. She hesitates before standing up, the camera trembling slightly as she walks through the hallway toward the front room. Each step she takes seems to make the knocking fade, until, right as she reaches the end of the hall, it stops completely. The silence that follows feels heavy, like the house itself is holding its breath, waiting for her next move. We do not know what her next course of action was, but I definitely hope she's made an effort of banishing it for her own good. The The farmland behind the house in the next video stretched out for acres, quiet and open, the kind of place that always felt peaceful no matter the time of day. But this afternoon, that calm didn't last long. After hearing some strange sounds earlier, Ethan Ryder decided to step outside to check things out. Little did he know that something sinister was waiting.
Oh gosh. So I got the stray cat out here, right? Now checking on it. This thing's cute as f. And I look up. What the f? I'm gonna go look over. Real quick. Y'all see it? Oh, y'all see that shit though? Is this disappearing?
He unlocks the door and steps into the sunlight, spotting a stray cat sitting near the steps, looking harmless and almost comforting. But as Ethan looks past it, his camera catches something across the yard, far out at the edge of his garden. A tall, black figure is standing there, completely still, facing directly toward him. It doesn't move an inch, even in the wind. Ethan starts walking closer, trying to figure out who or what it is, but just as he gets a little nearer, the figure vanishes right before his eyes. In broad daylight, with nothing to hide behind, it simply disappears. This was, of course, extremely disturbing. In the follow-up clip, Ethan decided to take his investigation further by heading into the basement, a part of the property he'd always avoided. The place was a complete mess, with it being dusty, cluttered, and filled with old furniture and boxes stacked against the walls. He had no idea that something else was down there too, though. Take a look.
I'm in the basement. I'm about to talk to this ghost or whatever it is. It's pretty scary. If you can't tell, my basement is scary as hell. But let's talk to it. Is there anybody in here? If you're in here, show yourself. Oh no, y'all see that? What the fuck? Oh hell no. Is that a ball? Oh hell no, hold up. Is anybody in here? Oh hell no, I'm out. I'm out this place.
He starts recording, trying to talk to whatever might be there, asking if anybody's down there with him. His voice echoes slightly as he asks it to show itself, waiting in the stillness for any kind of response. A few seconds later, something suddenly drops in the far corner of the basement and bounces across the floor like a small rubber ball being tossed out of nowhere. Ethan swings the camera toward the noise, but there's no one there, just empty space and darkness. Realizing he's completely alone, panic sets in. Though the video cuts off soon after, Ethan later admitted that he bolted out of the basement, convinced something unseen had responded to him. After posting the basement video, Ethan's comments were flooded with viewers daring him to go back outside and try talking to whatever he had seen before. Against his better judgment, he decided to do it. This time, he filmed himself walking through the same open farmland, heading straight toward the spot where that black figure had first appeared. Would it appear again? You'll have to watch and discover for yourself.
So I got told to go talk to it. So I'm gonna go talk to it. It's dark as out here. I can't see shit. I see a few trees. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's dark as yeah, and scary as hell. Oh hell no! What the f is that? What the? Oh hell no!
The area looked calm again with nothing unusual and no sign of movement anywhere. He communicated with his camera to talk to the viewers and then stopped for a moment. For a few moments, there's only silence and the sound of wind brushing through the grass. Then Ethan turns the camera around toward the house and freezes. In the downstairs window, a dark, human-shaped silhouette is standing perfectly still, facing him. It's the same figure from before, only now it's inside his home, staring down at him through the glass. Ethan gasps and immediately starts running back across the yard, the footage shaking violently as he tries to get away. That's where the clip ends. According to viewers, Ethan Ryder was never heard from again. We can only hope that he is okay. Jack works night shifts as a cleaner in a large office complex, often by herself for hours at a time. Recently, she'd been telling people that strange things kept happening while she was cleaning, such as doors opening on their own, lights flickering, and footsteps echoing through empty hallways. To prove she wasn't imagining it, she decided to set up a few cameras around the building to see if he could capture anything unusual. Fortunately for her and our entertainment, one of them succeeded. One of those cameras ended up recording something that she still can't explain. In the footage, everything looks normal at first, just a quiet office hallway with a single door at the end. Then, for a brief moment, a blurred face appears in the small glass window of the door, almost like someone is peeking out from behind it. The face lingers for a second, before quickly retreating out of sight. Jack swears she was completely alone that night, and the CCTV from the rest of the building confirmed that nobody else was there. Whatever was behind that door wasn't supposed to be in the building at all, and had an unwelcome stay. After the first clip went viral, Jack decided to start filming firsthand to prove she wasn't just relying on security footage. This time, she set her phone up while finishing her cleaning duties in the same room where the face had appeared days earlier. She explains that while taking the trash out, she heard a faint voice nearby, which is what made her start recording in the first place. The office is silent with the light on, and every sound feels amplified as she walks around trying to show there's nobody there.
Okay, so I'm doing the trash. This is the same room that had that face right here. And I was cleaning this bathroom, and I had my phone on this cart, right? I just heard
For most of the recording, nothing seems out of the ordinary, just Jack moving around the room and talking. But right near the end of the clip, as she's about to stop recording, a soft whisper can be heard coming from somewhere off camera. It's quiet, but unmistakable, a chilling voice that simply says hello. Jack freezes for a moment before the clip ends abruptly. Whether it was the same presence caught on camera before, or something new entirely, she's now more convinced than ever that she isn't alone in that building. In the following video, a duo of friends armed with flashlights were exploring an abandoned building late at night, hoping to capture whatever had been making the strange noises they kept hearing on earlier visits. It was only supposed to be a quick sweep through the corridors, but things escalated fast when they turned a corner. As they walk down a narrow hallway, their flashlights sweeping across peeling walls and scattered debris, they turn a corner and immediately freeze. Just ahead of them, a ghost-like figure floats upward, rising silently until it disappears completely out of sight above the doorway. The light catches just enough of it to show its shape before it vanishes, leaving the two friends completely stunned. They stand in that corner for a long moment, clearly unsettled, trying to figure out if they really saw what they think they saw. Eventually, they gather the courage to move forward and check the spot where the figure disappeared. But when they round the corner, the space is completely empty. No stairs, no ledges, nothing that something could have climbed or stood on. Whatever floated upward was gone, leaving them with no explanation at all. The next piece of footage was taken on the 17th of October 2012, right in the middle of the day, and it comes from a man named Michael, who insists he was completely alone in the house at the time. For about 10 minutes straight, he kept hearing footsteps going up and down his staircase, the kind of loud, clear steps you'd expect from a full-grown adult. Eventually, he grabbed his camera and started recording, because the sounds simply wouldn't stop, and he hoped to catch them as proof.
Okay, it's like the middle of the day. I'm the only person in the house, and just heard some footsteps going up and down the stairs. I've checked all the rooms. There is nobody in. It's been doing it for about 10 minutes. There it is again. Okay. Catch the camera this time. Hello? Mike? Charlie?
As soon as he starts filming, you can hear it on camera too, that repetitive thudding of someone pacing the stairs. Michael walks out of his room and points the camera directly at the staircase, but there's nothing there. No movement, no shadows, nothing that explains the noise. Still, the footsteps continue, even while he's staring straight at the stairs. Suddenly, the sound changes. Whatever's on those stairs runs all the way up at full speed, but nothing ever appears in frame. Then, right at the top, the door slams shut, hard enough to shake Michael, stands frozen for a few seconds before finally building up the courage to go inside the room. It turns out to be nothing more than the bathroom, completely empty, no windows open, no one inside, no reason for anything he heard. After this incident, Michael admitted he's now looking to sell the home altogether. A man is standing just outside his bedroom, filming because he claims something in the house has been responding to him whenever he speaks in his native language. He's clearly unsettled, but he keeps the camera rolling as he talks quietly toward the dark hallway, almost as if he's addressing someone he can't see. Little do we know at this point that there is definitely someone there.
Voy a tratar de comunicarme con este ente como me dijeron. Se sienten pasos. Si estás acá, prende la luz. ¿Qué? Si estás aquí en el baño, enciende de nuevo el agua. ¿Hay alguien más que tú aquí en esta casa? Mi vida corre peligro. Te huella. Aquí no hay... No, yo me voy.
As he's speaking, the shower in the bathroom beside him suddenly turns itself on, spraying water for a second, before shutting off again. He stops mid-sentence, confused, and walks toward the door. The moment he steps inside, it happens a second time, the shower turning on and off, as if something is reacting to his presence. He stays there, wondering if it would happen again, and as expected, the shower triggers a third time, then a fourth, each burst short and deliberate like someone unseen is flicking the tap. Finally, he pulls the shower curtain aside to check for anything that could have caused it. But there's nothing. No loose pipe, no faulty handle, nothing in the tub. Whatever was answering him wasn't something he could see, but it was definitely listening. In the follow-up clip, Franco is still in the same house, this time sitting in his own bedroom with the camera pointed upward as he tries to calm himself after the shower incident. He earlier explained that things haven't stopped since that night, and the second he begins to film, the reasons become obvious. Above him, the ceiling light begins to sway back and forth, slowly at first, like something barely nudged it. Franco keeps filming, well aware that there's no draft, no windows open, nothing that could make it move. But then it starts swinging faster, almost violently, like someone was pushing it from side to side. He tried to stay steady, breathing hard, when something else happened out of nowhere. His bedroom door begins to close on its own, not slamming, but gently, almost politely, until it clicks shut. Franco freezes for a moment before finally mustering up the courage to stand and open it. The second he does, he jumps back in fear as his cat is suddenly sitting right at the threshold, staring up at him. The timing couldn't have been worse, and it terrified him even more. The activity hasn't stopped at all, and Franco is running out of explanations. In the third and most unsettling clip, Franco is back in the same bedroom again, determined to catch whatever has been lurking in his house. He points the camera toward the same doorway where the earlier activity happened, explaining that he keeps hearing movement outside his room late at night. Things escalate quickly.
Hay ruido en el primer piso. Está...
As he films the doorway, something faint moves at the very top of the staircase that leads downstairs. A dark, odd shadow briefly peeks around the corner, just enough to be seen before sliding out of sight again. Franco is very frightened and clearly shaken, but before he even has time to react properly, his bedroom door begins to shut once more. This time it doesn't slam or jolt. It closes normally, smoothly, almost deliberately, like someone was standing behind it and pushing it shut with care. Franco panics and immediately runs to pull the door back open, swinging the camera around the hallway. But just like every other moment in this house, there's nothing. No footsteps, no movement, no one who could have been responsible other than his white cat, who wouldn't have appeared so dark. Whatever is haunting Franco's home isn't done with him yet, and this clip only made things even more disturbing. Luke had been hearing strange voices around his house for a few nights in a row, and this time he finally worked up the nerve to start filming to prove he wasn't imagining it. He sets his camera on the doorway in front of him, trying to capture any sound or movement that might happen. Take a look.
I'm still hearing voices. Listen. Jesus Christ.
For a few seconds, everything is still, the room quiet, except for Luke's uneasy explanation. Then, from somewhere, just out of frame, another door in his room suddenly shuts on its own. It's loud enough that the camera picks it up clearly, even though it's completely off-screen. Luke jumps back with a genuinely shocked reaction, his words showing fear, but there's nothing. No wind, no movement, no shadows, just a door that somehow shut itself while he was lying right there. His reaction alone makes it clear he wasn't expecting it, and whatever voice he'd been hearing before clearly wasn't finished, making itself known. In the follow-up clip, Luke is on edge again because he starts hearing whispering near his room and decides to record once more, convinced that whatever had closed the door before is still around. As he films the room, a strange scattering sound begins coming from inside the walls, quick and uneven, like something crawling behind the plaster. At first, he tries to convince himself it might be a rodent, something normal, something that would at least make sense. But the longer he films, the more wrong it feels, because the scattering stops suddenly and is replaced by a clear whisper that comes from the far side of the room, nowhere near Luke, and definitely not from the walls. It's unmistakably human, low and intentional, and Luke's breathing picks up as he looks around at the empty room. Whatever is in that house with him is not an animal, and it's definitely not his imagination. Luke is still recording when he suddenly goes quiet, because 3 slow knocks hit his bedroom door, spaced out like someone is deliberately trying to get his attention. He stares at the door without moving, waiting to see if it was just the house settling, but then it happens again, the exact same pattern, a little louder this time. Luke takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself, whispering that he doesn't want to open it. Before he can even finish speaking, another round of knocks hits the door, faster now, almost impatient, followed by a final series that's even more aggressive, as if whatever is outside is getting bolder. He stays frozen, the camera shaking slightly in his hand, because the worst part is that he knows for a fact no one else is home. In the following video, a man was walking through a storage complex late at night when he noticed something strange reflecting off the side of a stack of boxes. At first, it looked like the shadow of a person standing completely still, but the moment he turned the corner to see who was there, the entire space ahead of him was empty. Take a look.
Quiero que chequen algo en esa tarima de ahí. Eso. Y chequen, estoy yo solo. No hay nadie aquí. Ni de este lado, ni para acá. Vean. Nada. Puto almacén vacío, está su pinche madre.
He slowly walks down the long, stretched aisle between the rows of storage units, sweeping his light left and right as he passes each gap. But there's nobody. The space is silent, the concrete floors untouched, and no weird sounds echo. The shadow he saw moments earlier should have belonged to someone standing right there, yet there's no sign of movement, no footsteps, and nowhere to hide. By the end of the clip, he's fully convinced he saw something that wasn't human, and he wasn't wrong. Later on, security footage from the facility was checked, and it confirmed that not a single person entered or exited during the time he filmed. Whatever cast that shadow wasn't supposed to be there, and it left no trace behind except the moment it revealed itself. Basements are the most likely place in somebody's house to be haunted, and for Taz, that idea has basically become a daily reality. Activity in his basement has picked up so much recently that he now films every single time he goes down there, just in case something happens. This time, he was carrying a load of laundry down the stairs, trying to act normal, even though he admits the place never feels empty.
A ghost lives in my basement. Activities have picked up, so I decided to record every time I go down there. This time I caught it on video.
He sets the laundry on the counter, the camera catching the whole room behind him while he starts sorting through clothes and loading them into the washing machine. Everything is quiet for a moment, just the sound of fabric rustling, until something in the background suddenly moves. A bright yellow object sitting on the wall shifts on its own in a very obvious way, like someone nudged it. Taz doesn't notice at first, still focused on the washer, but the object continues to wobble before collapsing entirely a few seconds later, falling off the shelf as if pushed. There's nobody else in the basement, no draft, nothing touching it. This wasn't a light object being blown over either. It was something heavy enough that it only ever moves when something interacts with it. For Taz, it's just more evidence that whatever is living in that basement hasn't calmed down at all and might actually be getting stronger. In a haunted housing complex, the Scottish Ghost Company returned to one of the strangest locations they've ever investigated, an abandoned multi-house property where they've had responses before. It's just the two of them, a man and a woman, walking slowly through the empty rooms with nothing but their flashlights cutting through the darkness. They remind viewers that nobody else is anywhere in the entire complex, and the silence around them feels impossibly heavy. Eventually, they step into a room they call one of the most active spots in the building and greet whatever spirit might still linger there. They ask if it can open the door for them, half expecting nothing to happen, but of course, something does.
Hi everybody, I know you can't see us very well, but we are here.
Hi!
Hi. We are alone in a building which, sorry, I'm just going to turn you around. Yeah, we are alone in this old
warehouse complex.
We have set up a room video. We've been live on Facebook and we've had quite good responses from a door moving on its own in here.
The only other living person is the security guard, who is about 3 buildings away. So there's absolutely nobody except us in the whole area.
So we've heard so many loud bangs in here. So we're going to try and do it again. Hi, Spirit, we're back again. Is that? There we go. Well, when we left this, it was open.
It was wide open.
Spirit, if you're still with us, I know I said I wasn't coming back. Could you...
I'm so impressed with what you were able to do.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
Thank you so much. What was that?
Oh my god.
Okay, Spirit, thank you. Can you close it again, please? Close the door over, please. We're really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Well done. Now...
A moment later, the door begins to move, slowly and smoothly, swinging fully open without a single creak. Both of them stare with wide eyes, shocked, but keeping surprisingly calm as they thank the spirit. Then they ask if it can close the door again multiple times, but there's a brief pause before the door gently pulls itself shut, the same smooth movement as before. The whole interaction is clear, controlled, and impossible to explain, but at least the investigators and I got content. A team of paranormal agents were visiting a preserved heritage home that once caught fire decades ago. They had been invited to document any lingering activity, and on this particular night they decided to use a Ouija board, along with a few basic pieces of equipment to see if anything would respond. The room was calm at first, quiet except for the soft beeps of their devices checking for movement or EMF spikes. Take a look.
Steven was a name that we had come to know throughout our time there that could potentially unravel some of the story that we had come to find out.
So we're trying to see if anybody's here.
Maybe somebody named Steven or...
Immediately the REM pod as soon as he said Steven.
And it hasn't gone off.
It hasn't gone off
in
even
hours.
during the live stream. It didn't go off at all. And solid. It did go off earlier that one time in the bathroom, but...
That's really weird.
What was that?
Yeah, you heard that too?
Yeah. It was a shh. I heard something behind me. Oh my god. Okay, let's say goodbye.
As soon as one of them mentioned the name Stephen, a former resident who lived there before the fire, the equipment lit up instantly, as if something was acknowledging the name. Shortly after, they heard something strange say, "Find me" to them both, as if beckoning them to explore this place further. Both investigators froze, shocked by how clear and direct the message was. While they tried to process it, something else in the room started drawing their attention. On the far wall, an old decoration hanging from a hook began to gently sway back and forth, even though nobody was near it. The rest of the room remained still. No windows open, nothing that could have caused it. The timing made it feel like Stephen, or whatever answered to that name, was trying to guide them somewhere, or warn them of something he could not show himself. The agents quickly realized they were dealing with something intelligent, and this heritage home still held more secrets than anyone imagined. It started as one of those nights where the silence feels heavier than sleep, and this guy at Camp Shields in Okinawa, Japan, could tell something was off the moment he sat up in the dark feeling watched. He had just thrown his helmet toward the door where he swore the presence came from, and now he was talking into the empty room like he expected something to answer, almost pleading for the ghost to show it was real. It had already woken him up, so why not continue?
I didn't just see a hand. You mad or what? You mad I threw that helmet at you? Do it again. Make some noise. Show me you're real. Island. Show me. Satan ass motherfucker. Show me. Prove to me that you're real. Do it. What, you mad? Show me. Swing some shit. Make them noises and shit that you did when you woke me up. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh my gosh, bro.
He waits, hears knocking like the ghost is getting mad, and an orb crosses the screen. The moment that orb drifts by, his whole energy shifts because he knows he didn't imagine that knock, and he definitely didn't imagine something moving across the room. You can hear the nervous laugh behind his voice, but also that moment of regret when it hits him that maybe he pushed a little too hard. People always think they want proof until the lights go quiet again, and you're alone with whatever just answered you, and he suddenly seems very aware that asking for a sign might have invited something closer than he ever expected. It picked up right where he left off, the room still feeling tight and charged, like the air didn't reset after that orb passed, and he kept the camera pointed at the corner because he swore something was still moving in there. He tried to steady his breathing, but before he even got close to being calm, the cupboard behind him opened and slammed shut like something inside was answering with attitude.
Part 2.
Bruh. Hey! Hey, chill the f out. I'm tired of your shit. Hey! Cut that shit off. Shut the fuck up!
He turns, trying to get a good angle while filming as two knocks hit from inside the cupboard. He tells it to chill the fuck out. Then a harsh scraping sound erupts, followed by something falling to the floor. The sound sends him spinning back toward the camera, because that scrape was way too real and way too close for him to pretend it was nothing. And you can hear in his voice that it is no longer curiosity pushing him forward, but straight up panic holding him in place. There is this moment where he just freezes, staring at the cupboard like he is waiting to see if whatever is in there is going to come out. And you can tell he knows he crossed a line. He had asked for proof, and now it felt like something was trying to claw its way into the room just to give it to him. And that regret hit him harder than anything the ghost could throw. It was one of those late-night walkthroughs where the building feels older than its walls, and the Ogden Paranormal Investigations team had barely stepped into the Salt Lake City clubhouse before realizing the place carried a kind of quiet that did not belong to an empty structure. They set a camera in one of the lower rooms, letting it run while they explored, and you can hear their footsteps echoing above like the spirits had already started listening. One of the investigators went out of frame and called out to whatever was on the top floor, asking it to come downstairs and join them, because he wanted to see if the place really lived up to its reputation.
That's you upstairs. You're more than welcome to join us here in the basement. We'd love to talk to you.
Right after I ask the spirits on the first floor to join us downstairs, an anomaly moves from the top of the screen towards the basement staircase. Watch again with the image enhanced.
That's you
As he finishes asking, an orb shoots through the ceiling area on the camera feed and drops downstairs, like it heard the invitation. The second that orb comes through the roofline, nobody has to say anything because you can feel how fast the mood shifts from casual investigation to the realization that something actually responded. The investigator who called out suddenly sounds unsure about his own words, and the room feels heavier, like whatever moved through the floor did not come alone. Moments like that remind them that sometimes the spirits do not wait for permission. They take an invitation as a door opening. Upstairs, the camera had been running quietly, pointed down the dim hallway where the team hadn't walked yet, and the air up there already seemed thicker on the recording, like something was hovering just out of frame in the doorway. The investigators were still reacting to the orb dropping through the roof downstairs, completely unaware that the upstairs feed was catching something even stranger.
We had more potential evidence from night 1, but without the handheld footage, we could not verify its validity. However, that does not take away from an experience Jocelyn will not soon forget.
The empty hallway sits still for a few seconds before a soft but clear voice says hello near the camera. The moment that single word comes through, it cuts through the silence in a way that doesn't sound like an echo or a creak, or any of the usual building noises they're used to, and it feels more like a direct acknowledgement from whatever they had called down. It's the kind of greeting that doesn't feel friendly or hostile, just aware, like something wanted them to know it heard the invitation and was deciding whether to follow. And when the investigators later reviewed the footage and heard that hello, you could see the realization hit them that they weren't just exploring a haunted clubhouse, they were talking to something that was willing to answer back. Before the following video started to film, a woman began noticing something unsettling in her home, the distinct sound of footsteps going up and down her stairs at random times. At first, she thought it might be her house settling, or maybe a neighbor outside, but the pattern was too deliberate, too heavy to dismiss. Immediately, determined to find out what was causing it, she started filming.
I keep hearing somebody walk up and down my stairs, but there is obviously nobody there. There's nothing there. And it keeps coming up and down, up and down.
The sounds continued, loud and heavy, echoing through the stairwell as if someone invisible was running up and down. She called out a few times, but there was no response, no sign of movement other than the creaks beneath the unseen steps. The camera pans toward the stairs, clearly showing they're empty, yet the noises persist. Each step seems to press down hard, then stop, then start again. Her breathing grows uneasy as she realizes there's no logical explanation. Nobody else is home, no pets, no people, just those haunting footsteps stomping endlessly. The same woman, still shaken from the footsteps she'd heard days earlier, decided to keep her phone close just in case the noises returned. One evening, while relaxing in her living room, she began hearing something new. It was a deep, metallic scraping echoing from beneath her floor. It sounded slow, deliberate, and heavy, like something heavy and metal dragging across the floor. Take a look.
Guys, I never did. If you hear it, that's exactly what I'm talking about. See, there's nothing out of place over here. There's nobody down here. I'm home alone. Like, there's nothing that should be making that noise. Nothing. I have no idea. This keeps happening. I'll hear this every now and again. But I do not want to be down here right now. I do not want to be down here. I just wanted to show you guys.
She made her way to the basement door, hesitating for a few seconds before opening it. As soon as she flicked the light switch on, the noise stopped completely. The basement fell silent, unnaturally so. as if whatever had been making the sound froze the moment she arrived. She stepped down the creaking steps and scanned the room, her eyes flickering everywhere, but everything was perfectly still. No pipes moving, no tools fallen over, no sign of life. She rushed back upstairs, locking the door behind her. Later, she said she would rather not enter the basement again, and there's no way you would either. Samantha was suddenly jolted awake at around 4 in the morning by strange noises echoing through her room. Still half asleep, but unnerved, she grabbed her phone, turned on the flashlight, and decided to start recording. Wanting people to see it live in case something truly happened, she began streaming on Facebook, a detail that would later prove the footage wasn't edited when it was re-uploaded to YouTube.
Oh, there's them up. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, fuck that shit. What the fuck? What's that? What's up there? What's them? What's that light? Oh, it's out of my charge. Please, it's off my charge. Oh, them up things fucking.
At first, everything seemed still, but a small orb drifted across the screen, faint but noticeable against the darkness. Samantha's breathing grew heavier as she whispered into the phone, mentioning what she saw. Just as she steadied her camera toward her wardrobe, a loud thud made her jump, signifying that something had fallen from the very top shelf with no visible cause. The stream immediately started being filled up with comments from people watching live, telling her to get out of the room. She panned the camera again, showing the fallen object on the floor, her voice trembling. In the aftermath, Samantha said she hadn't touched that shelf in weeks, and the item that fell was wedged firmly behind other boxes. Since that night, she's been too scared to sleep with the lights off, claiming the noises still return around the same time every morning. A Russian man had set out to explore what locals called an abandoned military bunker deep in the wilderness, a place rumored for years to be haunted by the spirits of those who never made it out. The entrance was a tunnel-like structure, half buried in dirt and stone, with air so still it felt untouched for decades.
Сейчас направляемся на поиски военной секретной заброшенной базы. Там, в лесу такие вот заброшки. Интересно сейчас найти эту базу. Так, идем. Она здесь здоровая, блин, эти дороги такие. Куча этих развилок. Будем направляться потихоньку. Вот, ребята, посмотрите. Подошли уже, нашли наконец-то эту военную секретную базу. Здесь никто не снимал еще, не лазил. И очень интересно самому и ребятам. Посмотрите, какие уже ангары. Так, очень опасно, чтобы не обвалилось. Пошли, ребята. Такие вот здания, помещения. Я думаю, достаем фонарик мой. Я взял. Все. О, смотрите, как классно светит. Ангар такой арочный. В лесу уже, видно, в земле заныканный. Такая вот была здесь военная база. Посмотрите, какой ангар, ребята. Вау, прикольно, что-то новенькое. И там много таких ангаров. Прикольно, ребята, давно не было у меня таких приключений. Типа сталка. Здесь, ребята, жутковато. Потому что здесь, блин, куча этих волков, зверей всяких. Подходим, идем дальше. Смотреть, что как. Вот, ребята, еще такой вот бункер. Фу, территория очень большая. Здесь будет очень тяжело найти эти шахты. Так. Пошли. А вот здесь уже стрёмненько, ребята. Какие-то комнаты. Что это было? Ребята! Фу! Валим! Фу, блин! Там что-то было в том бункере. Жесть просто. Фу. По-моему, кто-то стоит. Валим! Фу, ребята. Фу. Вот это я, блин, нагонялся. Стрёмненько. Такая вот секретная военная база. Еще, блин, кто-то там лазил.
As he stepped inside, his flashlight cut through the heavy darkness, revealing crumbling walls, rusted pipes, and piles of rubble scattered across the ground. He moved carefully through the first few tunnels, whispering his thoughts in Russian, his voice echoing faintly off the concrete. After several minutes, he finally reached an exit that led him back outside into the cold air, the light from the trees almost blinding compared to what he had just come from. But curiosity got the better of him. He made his way to another sector nearby, one even darker and more decayed than the first. The moment he stepped inside, the atmosphere changed instantly to something thicker and heavier. That's when it happened. From the corner of his light, a faint human figure began emerging from a doorway at the end of the hall. He froze for half a second before bolting out of the bunker, the camera shaking as he gasped for breath. Later, he swore he'd never return to that site again, convinced whatever he saw in that tunnel wasn't living. The following video has the context of a man sitting quietly at home when a series of loud bangs began echoing from his garage. At first, he thought it was the wind or maybe something falling from a shelf, but the sounds were too heavy, too deliberate. Grabbing his phone and a flashlight, he went to check it out.
What is that noise?
The moment he entered the garage, the banging grew louder, pounding in quick bursts that made the metal walls tremble. He followed the sound until he realized it wasn't coming from the floor or the walls, it was above him. The attic hatch in the ceiling was moving ever so slightly, the latch trembling as if something was pushing against it from the other side. He stood frozen, watching it shift just enough to make his heart race before the movement suddenly stopped. Gathering his nerve, he reached up and pulled the hatch down, the ladder unfolding with a creak that echoed through the quiet garage. Slowly, he climbed the steps, flashlight in hand, scanning the corners of the attic. Dust, insulation, and old boxes, nothing else. The place was completely empty, but what unsettled him most was the feeling that, even in the silence, something up there was still watching him from the dark. The following evening, as he walked up the path toward his house, every light inside suddenly flicked off at once. The blackout was so abrupt that he immediately pulled out his phone and began recording.
I was walking towards my house, and all the lights suddenly turned off inside. I don't know if my wife's home or not.
He unlocked the door cautiously and stepped inside, using his flashlight to cut through the thick darkness. His voice was tense as he narrated to us, but nobody else was there, and the house stayed eerily silent. Moving slowly from room to room, the beam of his light caught something swaying above the kitchen table, the ceiling light, still moving back and forth like someone had just brushed past it. He stepped closer, audibly getting nervous, but deep down he knew better. From the kitchen, he walked into the garage, hoping maybe his wife had come home early, but her car wasn't there. He was completely alone. That night he packed a small bag and went to stay with a friend, saying he needed space from whatever was happening in that house. He later said he wasn't sure what his next move would be, but one thing was certain. He wouldn't be spending another night there until he had real answers. Late one night, a woman in her car started filming after her dog began whining uncontrollably at the window across the street. The animal's behavior was strange, with its ears pinned back, tail tucked, refusing to move. Curious and uneasy, she aimed her camera across the road toward the house opposite.
No, no es normal eso. Ahí paró. Correte. ¿Qué es lo que hace, no? Sí, porque no es que sube y baja así del...
Through the glass of a vibrantly lit upstairs window, something could be seen moving back and forth at an unnaturally fast pace. The figure's motion was erratic and too smooth to be human, gliding side to side in a blur that didn't match the lighting or the rhythm of a person walking. His dog clearly felt some sort of weird presence, and it was almost as if it could sense something he couldn't. Eventually, the figure finally stopped appearing, but it took way longer than expected. It was roughly 3 hours after the clip ended. To this day, he claims no one lives in that house anymore, and his dog still refuses to go near the window after dark. Ian, the Midwest ghost hunter, is one of the most subscribed ghost hunters, and this is from his haunted theater experience, the one where so many strange encounters have already taken place. Still determined to uncover more evidence, he swept his camera slowly around the empty room, giving a full 360-degree view of the walls and the curtains that lined them.
Creepy. Ooh, this is one of the creepiest nights I've experienced so far. Mabel, are you still over here? If she peeks out from those curtains, I'm out of here. That's it, I'm running. Oh man, just imagine.
As he zoomed in on one of the far curtains, the footage abruptly cut to another camera angle pointed at a stairway. This time, the shot had zero movement, no shaking. For a few seconds, nothing happened until a faint white mist began to descend the stairs, almost floating down step by step before fading near the bottom. The mist didn't behave like dust or light glare, and Ian himself confirmed there was no fog or smoke in the building that night. Whatever it was, it seemed to have its own form and direction. For those following Ian's journey through this haunted theater, This moment only deepens the mystery. Subscribe so you don't miss what he discovers next. A man decided to explore an old abandoned building one night, filming as he went. The clip begins with him stepping carefully through a doorway into what used to be a kitchen. The counters covered in dust and old debris. He doesn't stay long there before heading back out, walking slowly down a long hallway while peeking into each room along the way. As he gets deeper into the building, faint singing can suddenly be heard echoing through the halls. It's distant at first, almost like a choir singing, but as he keeps walking toward it, the sound grows clearer, and so do the footsteps that follow it. He knows other people are in that building with him. The singing abruptly stops, leaving only the creaking of the old floorboards under his feet. Then, a few seconds later, it starts again, this time further away, as if leading him somewhere. The tension builds as knocking sounds join in, followed by loud bangs echoing through the lower floor. He finally decides to follow the noise down a narrow staircase, the camera shaking in his hand. But as soon as he gets about midway, the air changes into something cold and heavy, and he turns back, whispering that he's done. The video ends with him hurrying back toward the exit, clearly realizing he was not alone in that building and there was something off. Jefferson had managed to collect some security footage from the hotel he worked at, a place already rumored to be haunted for years. But this time, the evidence was far more unsettling than anyone expected. The first clip comes from the hotel kitchen late at night when no one was supposed to be inside.
Alright, here's some crazy stuff that happens on this video. You're not going to believe some of this. I don't even believe it myself, but we've tried to debunk best we can. Watch all this stuff on the left side, and we're going to go through it here in a minute and show you the full video. I just want to show you everything we captured last night. Movement, all of that stuff. These bananas, watch these bananas right here. They go flying right there. So, that's not the only thing we caught. A light flash, look at this light flash. All of this happened with the same.
Several items can be seen shifting on their own with utensils clattering, trays sliding, and at one point, a whole bunch of bananas suddenly flings across the room, as if thrown by an unseen force. The camera shakes slightly as the movement triggers motion detection, then cuts to another angle from the lobby. There, the grand chandelier that hangs close to the staircase begins to flicker erratically, casting long, eerie shadows across the walls before going still again. Jefferson explained that no one was working in those areas at the time, and the lights had never malfunctioned before. Whatever was moving around that night seemed to have chosen the perfect time to make itself known. Subscribe as this story will continue in future videos. Barry was home alone one quiet evening, while his wife and kids were all out doing their own thing. In all the years they'd lived there, nothing strange had ever happened in the house, so when he started hearing faint, unusual sounds, he decided to start filming just to see if he could catch anything.
Okay. That just moved. Wonder if it will move again.
The camera points towards a toy in the living room, perfectly still at first. Then, without any warning, it begins to move on its own, the rope moving to the right as it shifts visibly. Barry stays silent, his breathing uneasy, as he realizes there's no logical explanation for it. The windows were closed, there was no draft, and the family cat, the only animal that could have nudged it, was upstairs the entire time. He lets out a small acknowledgement and is uneasy due to something unseen having just pulled it. The incident ended up leaving Barry stunned and whispering under his breath, completely unsure what he'd just witnessed in what was supposed to be a normal, quiet night at home. The following video begins with a man filming a small ball sitting perfectly still in the middle of an empty room. There's nothing around it with no wind, no fans, and no sign of movement at all. However, little did he know, something bizarre was moments away from taking place.
There it is. Oh my goodness.
A few seconds pass in silence before, out of nowhere, the ball starts to roll slowly on the floor, completely on its own. The man behind the camera immediately bursts into hysterical laughter, clearly caught between shock and disbelief. He keeps filming as the ball continues to move steadily until it finally comes to a stop in the same place it started. There's no one else in the room, and the footage clearly shows no strings or wires attached. The clip ends there, and nobody knows what happened next, but whatever made that ball move seemed to do it with purpose. Magnus was out walking through the woods when he came across an old abandoned house, hidden behind a line of trees. The place looked forgotten, clearly not inhabited, and surrounded by silence. Curiosity got the better of him, so he started filming as he made his way closer.
Oi, hva? Gamle driten her, da. Faen, ass.
He steps onto the porch and then knocks on the door 6 times, each knock echoing through the empty forest. After getting no response, he slowly pushes the door open and steps inside. The air is thick with dust, the kind of stillness that makes every sound feel louder. He flips on a light, revealing peeling wallpaper and broken furniture scattered around the room. Calling out once or twice to check if anyone's there, he gets nothing back but the creak of the old house beneath his feet. After a moment, he decides to head upstairs, camera in hand. His footsteps grow slower as he reaches the top. Then, just as he lifts the camera toward the landing, a pale face suddenly peers over the balcony at him. Magnus screams in shock and bolts back down the stairs. He vowed to never visit this place ever again. A widow named Jess had been filming her closet for a few nights in a row, after claiming strange things kept happening whenever she turned her camera off. This time, she decided to catch it on film, once and for all. She started recording with the camera, speaking softly but clearly, calling out to something she believes is in there with her.
You just did it! Derek, come on, do it again! Derek, you just did it every time. Every time, Derek. I turn the camera off and you do it. Come on, man. Derek, please. Show yourself. Derek. Derek, come on, babe. Your wife wants to know you're here. Come on. You just did it. As soon as I stopped the camera. Derek, come on, man. Stop being a stubborn ass. Derek? Please? Please do it for me, Derek. Derek, if you love me, you'll do it. If you love me, you'll do it. Ugh. Alright, fine. I'm turning the camera off. Shh, maybe you'll do it now. Derek! Derek. Well, fine, you stubborn ass. Oh my God.
Jess refers to the spirit as Derek, the name of her late husband, with that every time she stops recording, something moves or makes a noise inside that closet, and she is certain it was him. Her tone shifts between nervous and hopeful as she starts asking him to do something again, just to prove she isn't imagining it. She looks toward the door and beckons Derek, even saying if he doesn't do it, then he doesn't love her. There's silence for a few seconds, the camera fixed on the dark outline of the closet door. Jess then says she's turning the camera off, pretending to end the recording. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, faintly in the darkness, a shadow shifts inside the closet, fast and unmistakable, as if someone or something had just stepped aside. After reviewing the footage, Jess decided to go one step further and see what might actually be behind the strange activity. Inside the closet where she'd seen the shadow, there was a small staircase leading up to the attic. She hadn't been up there in years, but this time she filmed herself climbing it.
Y'all wanted me to come up to the attic, okay? This is the wall that y'all saw some shit on. And these are the stairs. Like, my husband has all his clothes, of course. But if you look up there, there's no windows. I'm not going all the way up there because it scares the shit out of me. There's no windows. There's a sofa, some mirrors, a chair, his clothes, but there's no windows up here, okay? There's nothing up here that would have done anything. See? No window. No window. No windows. Nothing. Absolutely nothing up here. Other than like his toolboxes and a chair. I'm not going up here because it's too scary for me. But there are some mirrors, which is weird for an attic. A fan. See, there's no windows. This is my attic. There's nothing up here that could have done that shit. Alright, I'm getting the here because it feels weird.
The camera shakes slightly as she reaches the top and pans around the small space. There are no windows, no vents, no gaps in the ceiling, nothing that could have caused the movement or shifting shadows she'd captured earlier. It's a cramped, quiet attic filled only with old items. Jess explains that she wanted to show everyone there was no logical explanation, no wind or light source that could have made what she saw. The silence in the parts of the clip where she doesn't speak is heavy, the kind that makes you think something could move again at any moment. After the video, she admits she doesn't feel safe in the house anymore and plans on moving soon, thinking that maybe Derek isn't at peace here either. The clip fades out as she takes one last look at the attic before heading back down the stairs. Ian of the Midwest, the well-known ghost hunter, is back investigating the same haunted factory that's featured in several of my previous videos. For anyone new, this is the abandoned industrial site where countless reports of footsteps, cold spots, and shadow figures have been captured on camera. This next part takes place around 13 minutes and 27 seconds into his recording, right as Ian decides to check out the basement level of the building.
Let's make some more noise. Jesus. See, what do we hear? God, I hope there's no more bats. It's bad enough dealing with the spirits alone. Is there anyone down in this basement? Was that you? Who just made that noise? Could you make that noise again? Oh, it is like a very, very old building, so it's gonna make all kinds of noises. But they sounded pretty deliberate. Let's go ahead and check out this area. I don't know if this is where the sounds came from. Oh wow, you see these?
He calls out into the darkness, asking if anyone is down there with him. For a few seconds, there's only silence. Then a faint sound of movement echoes from below. Ian freezes, then asks the spirit to make the noise again if it can hear him. Just a few seconds later, another sound rings out, clearer this time, almost as if responding to his request. The fact that it listened and repeated the sound makes it hard to call this an anomaly. It was interactive, intelligent, and most importantly, real. Subscribe to see what happens as this investigation continues, so you don't miss any important parts of Ian's tales. In the following video, a woman is casually filming herself in the mirror, checking her appearance with her phone light on, like it's any other normal moment. Nothing seems out of place at first, until a loud banging noise suddenly echoes from somewhere else in the house. Her expression changes instantly. She turns the camera and slowly walks toward the sound, her footsteps cautious. The noise leads her up the stairs, and by the time she reaches the top, her breathing is noticeably heavier, a mix of nerves and adrenaline. She pauses in front of the attic door for a moment before finally pulling it open. The attic is completely empty. No movement, no animals, no loose objects that could explain the sound. She scans the space with the camera, clearly confused and shaken, before backing away. Whatever caused the banging had completely vanished, leaving her alone with the unsettling realization that the noise came from somewhere she couldn't explain at all.